everyone. Welcome back to Now You're Cooking, the one and only cooking show at the Athol Library in Athol, Idaho. So, welcome. Today we're going to cook ham fried rice, and I thought this was a good thing. After the holidays, some of us had baked ham for our holiday dinner, and this is a great thing to use for leftovers, the ham and the ham fried rice. When I was a kid, we'd go to this Chinese restaurant in Pocatello, and the ham fried rice was my favorite meal growing up. And this recipe is from my mom, so thanks, Mom. And I hope you guys try it because it is really tasty and pretty healthy, and a great way to use up the leftovers. So first we're going to make the rice. And I wanted to show you how I make rice because for years I made soggy rice and I didn't know why. I'd follow the rice instructions and it never failed, but it always turned out mushy. So I learned this, and here's the saucepan, and you add a little bit of oil, probably like 2 teaspoons. And I have the pan heating. And then we got rice, and I like the long grain rice, and there are different brands. This one was on sale, and it's good, this jasmine rice from Golden Star. So, a couple teaspoons of olive oil and a cup of rice. And this recipe calls for 2 cups of rice, cooked rice. 1 cup of dry rice makes 2 cups of cooked rice. So I'm going to heat this up and then add the rice. Stir it around. And coat all the rice grains with the oil. And this is a heat-resistant spatula. Don't just use any spatula because sometimes they'll melt. And I use chicken broth with rice. So just 1 can of chicken broth. And rather than open up the whole can, I just do the bottle opener, can opener deal. So add that. You can use just water too, of course. Stir that in. I'm going to crank the heat up. And once this starts to boil, then you put the lid on and cook for 20 minutes. So, and keep stirring it because it'll want to stick to the bottom. Okay, this is starting to boil. You bring it to a boil. And then don't put the lid on too soon, because if it's still boiling and really hot and you put the lid on, then it overflows, which is all part of the kitchen scene. But I don't want to do that here, so I'm going to turn that down and put the lid on and set the timer for 20 minutes. And we'll be right back to prepare the rest of the ham fried rice recipe. Okay, our rice is done, and we're going to start on the egg and ham and rice, or the pea part of this recipe. So I have my saute pan here, turn up the heat, and this recipe calls for peanut oil, which is hard to find, and I couldn't find it, and I don't have it, but vegetable oil, canola oil, olive oil, any oil works really, but grapeseed oil, I wonder how the peanut oil would make it taste differently or better or what. So someday when I find peanut oil, I'm going to try it just to have the taste experience. So you dump in, the whole recipe calls for 3 tablespoons. So I don't tend to use all the oil every time. So I put in about 2 teaspoons in this, and we do the eggs, and then we put those on a plate, and then we do the ham and peas and put those on a plate, and then the rice. So every time you put a new part of the recipe in there, you add the oil. So like 3 tablespoons total is what the recipe calls for. And the recipe, which you can pick up here, or when you come to pick up your other books, we will run it out to you, also calls for 2 eggs, and I put in 3 or more. And with the ham, it calls for 1 cup, and I put in more. It calls for 2 cups rice, which is just right, I think. Don't want to add any more rice. So there's the oil heating, and you do the eggs first. And I do want to promote these eggs. My coworker Gwen has chickens, and that is a big bonus to have fresh eggs. We got these yesterday from her chickens, and these are fresh. And there's such a difference in fresh eggs. If you get the opportunity or have a neighbor that's raising chickens, start using fresh eggs because they are so much different than store-bought eggs and worth it. Okay, there's our eggs in there, and I whisk them. I know people like their eggs cooked differently. My husband can have them a little bit shiny, and I like them done. But they do get cooked again when you put everything back in the pan together. So you don't want to get them too crispy or too chewy, too done. So they don't take long. And then we have the ham. So we had the leftover ham, and I just chopped off a few slices of that and chopped it up into the bite-sized pieces. So that is almost done. And we'll wait for these eggs to cook. These recipes that we're focusing on are ones that, are inexpensive to make, and the ingredients are available readily, and they're healthy, easy. So as I said earlier, if there's something you have been wondering how to make, just let us know, and we will help you figure it out and maybe feature it on our cooking show. Now these are really cooking fast. Okay. They're getting there. So you get these pretty much done. They're sticking to my nonstick pan. I mentioned the importance of having good sharp knives, quality knives. Well, same goes for cookware. Save up your dollars and get the good stuff if you're going to be serious about cooking, because it does make a huge difference. And this pan it works well enough, but it's not the best. And here it is with the egg sticking to the bottom. So, okay, I'm going to set those aside here. Okay, add some more oil for the next part. And I'm going to turn that down for now. Up, down, up, down. Okay. And the recipe calls for 1 cup ham. And that looks like about a cup. But since we have this here, I am going to cut it up and add it to. It's better to have too much than not enough. And then a cup of just frozen peas. So you put those in there. And you can get these right out of the freezer. Be best to let them sit for a while and thaw somewhat, but there's our cup of peas. I think I'll add more. We got a lot of hungry people working here, so I'm gonna slice up the rest of this ham. Oh, and Judy and I, who's filming today, we're talking about the rind of the ham. And I said, if you were making this, would you put the rind in? And she said, yes, she loves the rind. And I said, me too. But my husband, when he makes this, he cuts it off. And then Judy says her son doesn't eat the rind, but she gets it. And then same with me. Gary doesn't eat the rind, and I get it. And it's a real treat. So we're adding the rind. You can add it if you want or not. And if I wasn't on television, I'd be picking it up and eating it while I'm making it. I know most of us do that in our own kitchen stuff. Fatty piece. Don't want any fat in there. And this doesn't take long at all for this part. Okay, it's smelling good in here. All right, stir in peas and ham, and then remove from pan. Then heat the remaining oil. Add rice, onion, and salt. So there are green onions in this dish that give it that extra freshness. And it calls for, let's see, quarter cup chopped green onion. And I add more. I like green onion. I think it really brings out the flavors. And I do the green part as well. The recipe calls for chopped. Some recipes, I'm sure you know, call for sliced green onions or long pieces of green onion or green onions cut lengthwise or different ways. But this says chopped, this recipe. So slice them and then just chop them so they're a bit smaller. Uh-oh. Oh, dang it. I was supposed to put the rice in with the green onions, so I'm going to, see, that's what I get for not paying attention. Okay. And the rice right here. Sorry, folks. Oh, and I like it when it does this. It gets toasty on the bottom, like so. Well, I think I'm just going to have to do part of this all at once when I'm supposed to add more oil. Boy, you're going to think she shouldn't be cooking for an audience. It'll be good though. I'm sure about that. Okay. It's almost done, folks. There it is. You want to toast that rice a bit because that's the theme of this dish is fried, hand fried rice. So everything's fried, which does have a different taste and texture than, just regular rice out of a pan. But this, I mentioned how to cook this rice, or how I like to cook it so it's not mushy and soggy. And it works every time to put olive oil in or butter, and then stir the rice in, and then add the water or broth. Next recipe, we're going to make coconut rice. So you can add, half coconut milk with water to the rice. I'm going to put this on here. And this is pretty much done. I'm going to put a little salt and pepper on it. So this is Judy here, and we're both going to taste our hand-fried rice and let you know how it goes.
Sure smells good.
It does smell good.
I'm very excited. Love that ham. I love ham.
Ham is good.
Gotta find some of
This
that.
is wonderful, people.
Gotta find some of that rind.
Yeah. You can dig around, and I gave you some chunks of rind in there. So, Okay, thanks everyone, and come in and ask for the recipe, and see you next time. Bye-bye.